Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you to the daily Hindu analysis. These videos they come in the morning and the PIB videos they come in the evening, and both in Hindi and English languages. And you see the issue here is that some people complain about the mediums and all. So both lessons are there and they both are released for PIB and Hindu videos, analysis videos. And the PDFs you will get on the Telegram channel of the Study IQ and my Facebook group. There also I upload these PDFs daily. So Amit Sani group for IS preparation, you can get them there. And we'll start with the quote. The quote remains same as keep writing your story. And as I told you, hard work, consistency, and observation and the patience. These four qualities are going to make you successful. Think about them. These are the most practical demands in this journey of your preparation. And about the pen drive courses by Study IQ, extremely important courses made by experts. Call on these numbers and ask about them. You see the dedication of Study IQ. You all people know daily these videos are coming. Apart from the current affairs videos, these are going to be the biggest help. Sit at your home and study peacefully. MCQs that I gave to you yesterday, external commercial borrowing. You see the regulator is RBI, not SEBI. SEBI is the regulator of stock exchange and all these bodies, but RBI maintains this borrowing and the banks mainly. And not only government PSUs, the companies, corporates are also allowed through this way when they are making these commercial borrowing for their companies like FDI and all. So these are allowed through a automatic route. So none would be the answer here. Next, EU was created after World War II. That's right, but with the Treaty of Maastricht, not by Paris. Okay, so that's why it's a wrong statement. Headquarter is in Brussels, that is the capital of Belgium. It's perfectly right. And there are 19 members at present. That's wrong. There are 28 members at present. So 2 only would be the answer here. Now the vocab, and now about the articles. You see this article relates to GS paper 3, but it's a repeated article. Around 4 or 5 articles we have seen regarding the Afghanistan situation and the way we should develop our confidence, and we should go with our own policy. That is the same thing which is repeated here in this article. So you can watch all those previous videos if you are not clear about the Afghanistan situation, and nothing new has been said in this article. And the issue which is new here, the angle which is new here, that is going to be discussed in this article of Balancing Act in Afghanistan, where the balancing of the India and Pakistan situation by the US we are going to discuss. The collegium controversy is erupting again. It's a very important issue where this collegium system is again under scrutiny. So it will be relatable to the GS paper 2 and this SR report that gives us annual status of education and the learning outcomes. This report is saying that we are going backwards in a way after 2008, and now less students from class 5 are reading the text of class 2. So it is becoming regressive evaluation, and we should talk about that issue because it's a very important in the governance point of view. So it will be relatable to the GS paper 2 again. And this article we are going to discuss in detail because it talks about the international scenario and the image of India in the context of human rights violation, and are dealing with the issue and what's going on domestically and the international scene. So that's important. GS paper 3, GS paper 2 would be relevant here. Next, the collegium controversy. An unusual change of decision brings the judicial appointment system under scrutiny. Why this thing is being said here? The controversial collegium system of judicial appointment is under public scrutiny once again. You see the NJAC, Judicial Appointment Commission. This was approved, and the act came regarding that. It was passed in the parliament, but Supreme Court held it null and void because they said that it is about a political interference in the judicial autonomy, and that should remain, and the separation of judiciary is the basic feature of the constitution. So that was the issue. But this collegium system, which is actually the present system through which they recommend the names for Supreme Court judges, and their name is given to president, so that president can appoint these judges, and these judges are taken from high courts, several high courts which are there in the states, and various other judges are taken and they are elevated as Supreme Court judges. Now see, Parliament has the authority to change the number of Supreme Court judges and all. So that's the general information regarding the issue. Now the issue remains with the collegium system, that it's a controversial system and a lot of reforms are needed, and there is a question of mysteriousness and exclusivity with the judicial domain. So that is the main concern here. Now the decisions which are coming regarding the recommendation of some names, these are controversial. You see, on 12th of December, they finalized the name of, I'll tell you the name of the person, Pradeep Nandarjog and Rajendra Menon, who came from Rajasthan High Court and Delhi High Court itself. So their names were finalized on 12th of December. Now what happened after that? After that, winter vacation came, and one member from the collegium, Mr. Madan Lokur, he got retired. So when after his retirement from the government and from this collegium, it was recommended that there should be a revaluation, there should be a review of this decision, this finalization of the names of these two people, and without making it public as a solid reason, and they did not tell what is the actual reason here, very much obscure reason was given, and they said that we are doing a revaluation here, and they recommended two different names, and those were the names of Mr. Khanna and Mr. Maheshwari. Mr. Maheshwari came from Karnataka High Court and Mr. Khanna came from Delhi High Court, from where the Rajendra Menon person was coming. Okay, so that was the controversial one. Now in this article, these retired Chief Justices of India, sitting Supreme Court Judges of India, Bar Council of India, they all are saying that these things are unusual. What was the reason that you withdrew the names of previously finalized people? Why did you change that thing, and what is the reason? And you are saying that you are making a claim that new material had surfaced. What is that material? You are not telling us. Although we are not objecting to their merit and the seniority quotient of these two judges, which are now Supreme Court judges. Okay, their names are finalized. Mr. Khanna and Mr. Maheshwari, their names are finalized, and we are not objecting to that. But we are objecting to the issue that what is the reason when the finalized names were withdrawn and you are giving new names, and the reason you are giving, that is very much a bizarre one. So that's the thing. Now the retirement of Justice Madan B. Lokur, does it make a difference in finalizing the name and revising this decision? Mr. R.M. Lodha, who is retired Chief Justice of India, he said that this is in a kind of underscoring the institutional and nature of decisions by the collegium, and it is spoiling the image of a collegium which is already under a lot of scrutiny. There is a issue. The issue is that, is this logical that one judge can be a ground to withdraw a considered decision? That's not done. And apart from that, there is little surprise in the disquiet in the legal circles. Lodha is saying that there is little surprise. I'm not surprised why all people in the legal circles are quiet. Sorry, disquiet. Because they are raising concerns that this decision is flawed, and out of some political pressure this decision is taken. And curious element in the latest appointments is that Justice Maheshwari, who had been superseded as recently as in last November, when a judge junior to him was appointed as a Supreme Court judge. In November, what happened? One person who was junior to Mr. Maheshwari, the same Maheshwari who is now a Supreme Court judge, a person junior to him was elevated as a Supreme Court judge, but Maheshwari's name was dropped, although Maheshwari was senior to him. So now within 2 months, what has changed? That what kind of merit Mr. Maheshwari has got, that his name is approved and it is replacing the previously finalized people's name, Mr. Menon and the other person. So what is the reason there? You should clarify that thing. And nobody is talking about the seniority aspect now, because it is never followed. These days it's not a norm, because it is not given in the constitution. Constitution does not justify mention that there would be a seniority aspect and that would be followed. It's not like that. It's only a convention. So a relative lack of seniority, nobody is objecting to that, but everyone is objecting to the decision that is made and the reason that is not given. Okay, so in the case of Mr. Khanna, there is an issue that three people from the same Delhi High Court were there above him, and they were nowhere lacking any kind of merit or any kind of capability, but still Mr. Khanna's name was elevated. So what's the reason? And you see, the recent practice of making public all resolutions of the collegium has brought in some transparency. That's a positive thing, that now these things, these decisions and these details are transparent, they are on the public domain, and these are only giving these all informations regarding the collegium system. That's a positive step, but it works in mysterious way. That's a problematic thing, and it ill serves the judiciary as an institution. That is the statement made by the editor. So that's the issue all about, and it's all up to the future what goes on now. Next article, learning little. Regarding the ASER report, first I tell you about this ASER report. It's an annual status of educational report. Okay, ASER, it's annual survey, and it provides reliable and annual estimates of children's schooling status. Okay, that's issue, but important is that it is not a school based survey, it's a household based survey rather than being school based survey. School based surveys are done by ministries and all, and the assessment survey we discussed 2 days back in PIB analysis. So this is different, and it has a precursor as the Pratham NGO, which used to be there in the 1960s, and it was working since then. And in 2005 this ESSER report this came, and it became regular after that. After 2005 it is conducted every year since 2005, and in almost all rural districts of India, and it's the largest citizen-led survey in India. That's important. Next is, in every rural district it takes 30 villages and 20 families, so on an average 600 households per districts are taken for the evaluation, and they do some tests and they give some arithmetic questions and all. So in the age group of 3 to 16 years they evaluate the situation, and it's a household survey, so they go to houses, not in schools. So that's important thing, because children's learning is not totally based on schools. They learn a lot from other areas, maybe from parents, maybe from friends and all, and maybe from other sources. So that's important here. Now this ESSER report is giving some insight here. They are saying that, what they are saying, I tell you here. In 2018 survey, among 5.4 lakh students in 596 rural districts, 53.1%, you see the background here, 53.1% students from class 5, they could read the class 2 text in 2008. Okay, but in 2018, what is the situation? Only 44.2% students from class 5, they are able to read class 2 text. Already it's a underscored evaluation, they are reading the class 2 text, but there is a negative progress, and they are saying that only 44.2% in comparison to the 2008 data of 53.1%, they are able to read this class 2 text. That's a problematic situation. And in the private schools the percentage is more, 67 and 65. That means in 2018 there is a decline in the private schools also. So the overall learning is going down, and if the learning is going down for the kids, what kind of future we are expecting here? Because after all these investments, all these schools, after all these schemes, programs, educational cess, everything is there, but we are going backwards. Now less students are learning, that's a problem. And you see, although it's an improvement from 2016, but it's not a huge improvement, and never you can call it a dramatic improvement, because the enrollment ratio is 96%. That's okay, that's welcomed, but the learning is missing. And for the learning only these enrollments are done, for the learning only these schools are there, these schemes are there. If students are not learning, then it's of no use. So that means the situation in 2016 was the worst one, and still it is not good. And about the arithmetic questions, these states are performing okay over 50%. Even that is not satisfactory, but they are doing it over 50%. But in these backward states, which are normally called Bimaru states, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and all, not Karnataka but Uttar Pradesh, so they are scoring below 20%. Only 20% students from class 5, they are able to read class 2 document. That's a problematic situation. And you see, The same student, they are not even able to recognize letters appropriate for their classes. That's a problem. And now that SR measures is available, so now some suggestions are given by the writer here. Priya Pillai is giving some insight and suggestion to the government here, that center should institute a review mechanism involving all states of both government and private institutions, because extreme need is there for the review for reviewing this situation, because we are going backwards. A public consultation on activity based learning outcomes should be there. Innovation, early childhood education, that's a problem, and that should be evaluated here, that there should be a review on this situation. And enactment of Right to Education Act, that's okay. In 2009 it became an act, and it started way back in 2002. But you see, that's a welcome thing, but the problem is students are not learning, and it needs a supportive framework to cater to learners from different backgrounds. That's also a big problem, because most of the students, they are from poor background, they cannot afford coachings, they cannot afford parental support and all. The rich class is growing well. We have seen that the kids from a rich class, they are doing exceptionally well, and they are becoming very, very smart day by day. But the situation is going backwards for the major population who is poor, who are living in rural areas. So that's a big problem. So it requires a reform. And the curricular expectations, they are going towards too much ambitious a target, and so much need is growing every day. More and more data is needed, more and more upgradation in the educational curriculum framework is needed. You see, recently we are doing a review of 2005 national curricular framework that is created by NCERT. Okay, so we are doing a review of it also, because it's a need. So this need is ever growing, and we are going backwards there. We are learning less. Class 5 is not able to read class 2 document, and here it's a rich class that is fluently speaking English also in India, the students from the class 5. So that's the great gap and inequality. Now see, innovation in schools and incentivizing good outcomes is the ultimate need. It is seen in Andhra Pradesh case that bonus, when it is paid to some teachers, it led to better student scores, because the condition is so bad, and still they are doing a good job. They are only paid 1,000 to 4,000 rupees a month, but still they are teaching students. If some bonus is given to these poor teachers in the rural areas, then they will do this task with too much of enthusiasm, and the great results will come. So the solution may lie in multiple approaches. That's the thing here. Now important article, the view from the outside, the main issue of India, where there is a analysis from the international community, where India is undergoing already a lot of allegations of the human rights violation, the situation in Kashmir, and in the past also a lot of issues were there, and India's performance was not that much good. But still the situation is here again going backwards, and the judicial killing that has happened in the state of Uttar Pradesh since March 17, the big concern is there, and that's why we need to be careful about this situation also. We are always focusing on our economic and military upgradations and our image that is going upward on the international platform. We are focusing only on these usual issues. We should shift our focus towards human rights violation issues also, because in India there is a blind spot in relation to rights and the intersection with foreign relations and policy discussions, and ignoring this has its perils. It is going to be a problematic situation, because money can not solve all the problems, as we all say. So the GDP and the military strength is not going to solve all the problems. Our image was very good. The issues of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and the Panchil and non-alignment, all these issues were very crucial as an image for India in the international platform. But we are losing that image, and in the issues of the human rights violations, it can be problematic for us in the future. You see our track record. Recently, India's Deputy Permanent Representative to United Nations expressed concern over the politicization of human rights as a foreign policy tool. And the argument that we made here, that we are the torch bearers of the democracy and should therefore have a greater say, including on issues such as UN reform, an integral part of the case to be made relates to upholding international laws. You see the problem here. What is said here? That's confusing one. It is said here that we are claiming that we are the torch bearers of the democracy. That's okay, but we are claiming on too high moral grounds. We are claiming too much, and the situation is totally different on our domestic level, where judicial killings are happening, and the situation in the Kashmir is very controversial. Although from the government side, it's a problem, and we are not at fault, but international platform, they evaluate the situations from the reports of NGOs, civil societies, and the data which are available on the social medias and all. So all these things are contributed to the collective image of India. And here, if we talk about the UN's independent experts also, then it's a problematic situation for India. And upholding international laws and standard pertaining to human rights is only going to help in improving that image. If without giving focus to these issues, India expects that world would believe that we are the torch bearers, then it's not gonna happen, and our claims would be hollow. Okay, so you see here, domestically these issues are going on. Lawyers activities, academics, and all these issues, all these people, they are raising a lot of concern for the last 4 years situation where intolerance and judicial killings and all these issues are going on. But it does not amount to any kind of international image. The international image, what is perceived outside the country, is based on some reports and some observations. If we don't talk about the main Human Rights Council, if we leave that aside, and if we only talk about the UN independent experts group and the special rapporteurs, what they have examined, they are also saying these things, that on these issues of extrajudicial executions, human rights defenders and all, they are saying that there are negative statements about India, and they are making serious statements. They are saying that whatever happened in Uttar Pradesh, it's a problem, and the bigger problem is that pattern of events, the way these are happening, the arrest, detention, and the torture that happened, and the killings that followed. That is the grave concern here. And this report came just after the UN report on human rights violation in Kashmir. So it becomes a problem in a series where India is scrutinized negatively by the international community. Just after the Kashmir situation, this killing in the Uttar Pradesh, this became an international issue. So that's a problem. So the writer is saying that these things are inevitable. We cannot stop these reports from coming, and we cannot stop our image from becoming negative by these issues. So we need to take care about these issues. And you see, there has been 26 critical statements about India since 2010, and 9 of them, they were issued in 2018. That's the problem. And 2018 was the year that saw the highest number of negative statements on India in the period examined. So that's a big problem. Okay, so here we need to focus a lot, and the issues which are going on, and the NRC of Assam, killing of journalists of Gauri Lankesh, defenders issue, police response to protesters issue, Rohingya issue, all these are big concerns here. And if we do not tackle them seriously on the grounds of human rights violation, then certainly our image will be on peril. And these statements indicate a few things. First, there has been enhanced scrutiny by the international experts. Second, the magnification of domestic rights violation in the international sphere is inevitable. That means they will certainly evaluate the situation. They will not spare us. And third, the metric of human rights and compliance with international law cannot be dismissed. We cannot dismiss these claims. Okay, we need to take care. And self-made claims will not help. Anyway, they will not help on the international arena. And these statements are extremely serious, and they are not issued lightly. So a lot is to be done here. And India's record of upholding human rights is abysmal. It's not good. It must do better. Primary consideration should be the welfare and the rights of the people, and the state should take all kinds of measures which are taken as the international standard in a democracy. Okay, we should not go according to some isolated norms of us, traditional laws and all. We should not appreciate them. We should appreciate the international level of democracy and the set standards. And whatever we talk about the stature and the prestige, for that also we need to work on this area so that our image is improved. Okay, and from both perspectives, the respect of the rights of individuals must be non-negotiable. That's the final statement. Okay, So, what do we learn here? We learn that we need to take steps and rights of individuals should be upheld at any cost. Next, balancing act in Afghanistan. What we do now? What is the balancing here? India should be informed of the developments in the peace process of which the US is taking Pakistan's help. As we discussed in many articles that India is the major partner for USA in South Asia, and you can say biggest ally in South Asia. In recent weeks, a new policy conundrum has emerged for the US. What has happened? You see, US reprimanded Pakistan a lot. They stopped their grants and all, and which used to be there for the last 15 years, where they gave trillions of dollars to Pakistan so that Pakistan can support them in Afghanistan. Pakistan can suppress these terror groups and all, but just opposite happened, and USA stopped the grants and reprimanded a lot, and after that Pakistan's situation became worse to worst. Okay, and we are all seeing the situation in the Imran Khan administration, what is happening and all, and they are not able to do anything significant. So that's the situation going on. But you see what happened now when Taliban is on rise, and Taliban was raised by Pakistan only. So when Taliban's situation its stature is raised, and they all are bound to talk to it personally, whether it's Russia, whether it's China, whether it's USA mainly, they all are bound to talk to Taliban separately. So Pakistan is the only country that can help here, because Pakistan raised Taliban, and indirectly Pakistan is also getting importance here. So that's why now USA has to change its course, and it is inviting Pakistan also. It is saying that come here and help us, because you can help very positively here. And Pakistan took it as a great opportunity. Obviously, it was a great opportunity because Pakistan was in great trouble and it was not going good with USA. And now USA only is asking for the help. So Pakistan, in a hurried way, they arranged a meeting in Abu Dhabi for Taliban people and for US officials in Abu Dhabi. Okay, so it was a very much a demanded meeting from the USA side. So in a way, Pakistan helped USA. But USA did not want these conditions to be like this. They never wanted Pakistan support, but now they are bound to take the Pakistan support, and now Pakistan is helping. So USA is totally failed here, and whatever USA said to Pakistan, that those all things are nullified here. And you see the new kind of situation is emerging here, where USA is demanding a lot from India, that it should take a positive step and it should raise its active support in Afghanistan. But India is not that much active. India is reluctant somewhere. Okay, that's the situation that is going on. And Trump mocked also. Trump mocked Modi's statement that we have made library, and also that the repeated statement that he made, and he mocked a lot. But still, he suggested indirectly that we should step up our game. And recent visit to India of Zalmay Khalilzad. Zalmay Khalilzad is the same person that's a US's special representative for Afghanistan reconciliation, to whom USA sent that go and settle the situation, talk to Taliban, talk to all stakeholders, and let's clear out this situation and let's come out of Afghanistan as soon as possible. So Khalilzad was very important a person, and his recent visit to India shows us that USA wants a lot of support from India also. So now it's a dilemma for USA, it's a dilemma for India, it's a dilemma for Pakistan, because support from all these stakeholders is needed. USA needs Pakistan, USA needs India, both, and they both cannot come together. That's the problem. If USA is going to give importance to India more, then Pakistan will back out, and if USA will give importance to Pakistan, then India will back out. That's the problem, because they both are not on the same page, and the situation in Kashmir that is going on. So that's the problem. But you see, the egos have to be brought down here for all the stakeholders. If they want to stabilize the area, if they want a positive cooperation, then all countries should do effort. Even India and Pakistan both, they also need to do some efforts. There are positive grounds where they can work positively together. What are these grounds? Tapi pipeline project. If I tell you about the Tapi pipeline project, it's a Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India pipeline that is called Trans-Afghanistan pipeline, and it started way back in 2011, and the work is going on in Pakistan. It started in December 18, I think. So it's a ground where India and Pakistan has to work together. Asian Development Bank is supporting this idea of Tapi project, and the Galkanish gas field is there in Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan is a major producer of natural gas, and there it's free for their citizens. Okay, so that's a great thing for Turkmenistan. So this pipeline project is there. Apart from that, both are members of SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, so they both can work positively in those areas, and here also they should cooperate, but that's nearly impossible. That's the situation, and that's why it's a great dilemma for USA also. So now when New Delhi has distanced itself from Indian Army chief's remarks supporting talks with the Taliban. What is this issue? Indian Army's chief, he said that when every country is talking to Taliban, then what is the trouble with India? We should also talk to Taliban, because Taliban is a major stakeholder here. But India distanced itself from this statement. They said that there are preconditions that we will talk to Taliban directly. Although they sent their two officials there, but that was not of much importance, and our official stand is different. We say that there should be preconditions. So that's the situation that is under making, and it is going to be a problem for USA. It is going to be a problem for Afghanistan, because they both want India's support, and Pakistan is suspicious about India, and India is suspicious about USA and Pakistan's equation. So that's the problem. And Afghan officials, they also don't want Pakistan to be on the table, because they're grudgingly cognizant of Pakistan's significant role here. They have to accept that Pakistan is a major partner, and without Pakistan, Taliban will not cooperate. So it's a problem for Afghanistan also. So it's a complex issue, and here the biggest help would be that US should keep India fully informed, and it should happen at the highest levels, and India should make its individual and its independent policy, and it should be confident on the scene. The same things are discussed in the article, the big article that came today, and that is a repeating article that we have discussed many things on Afghanistan in recent days. So it's all about this complex situation, and it's a balancing act for USA, that how it goes, how it balances Pakistan and India both, because it needs both these countries. Now some information. You see, in 2016, Iran nuclear deal happened, okay, and Obama anyhow made it possible. After that, economic sanctions, they were lifted from Iran, and when they were lifted, we were able to make payments to Iran, whatever oil that we import from Iran, so we could make payments. But now again, when Trump has withdrawn from the Iran nuclear deal, and again they have become staunch enemies, so economic sanctions are again put on the country Iran. In this situation, we are again not able to pay Iran in dollars, so we have devised a specific way. Iran imports 20% of its pharmaceutical demands, all these drugs and all, and India can export that, so we can pay for the imported oil to Iran in these terms of drugs and pharmaceutical supplies. So that's a way that they are devising. So it's a rupee pact with Iran to aid pharma exports is being done. So that's an important information. You see, historically there were economic sanctions on Iran, and in 2016 only anyhow this Iran nuclear deal happened, and all these sanctions were lifted from Iran because of the nuclear stockpile issue. But again, Trump said that Iran is not a country to be discussed anything with that, and we are withdrawing from here. All kinds of sanctions would be invited from Iran. CAATSA, we discussed about CAATSA, where it is putting all kinds of economic sanctions and restrictions on the adversaries of USA. USA is applying CAATSA to Iran, and it is also applying this CAATSA to Russia, because USA takes them as adversaries, as enemies. So that's the trouble. But India is devising a unique method here. And the Brexit issue that is going on, as I told you yesterday also, a lot of articles will keep coming. A lot of political churning is happening, and only the Theresa May's loyalists are with her, and other people which are half of the population, they are not with her, and this issue is getting complex and complex day by day. The deadline of 29th March is also going to be extended, so this situation is going on, so it's not much use for us from the exam point of view. And these MCQs are there, try them regarding the Tapi pipeline project and the ESSER survey. And one map question I'm giving you here, go through this area and find these: Port Said, Gulf of Aqaba, Strait of Kerch. When you are going to find these important issues, you are also going to find a lot of additional 10 to 20 areas, gulfs, straits, and the boundaries and all. These are going to be extremely helpful in the prelims examination next year, in the same year, in 2019 prelims examination. So thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani.